McDonald, who I heard speak in London, spoke against austerity and spoke up for women. I'm not surprised that he's the person within the leadership of the Labour Party who has contacted us. And he says, I want to pass on a solidarity message to South Yorkshire Women's Aid campaign. Your campaign is an inspiration. I will liaise with the 3 local Labour MPs and Doncaster Council to save this much needed service. I give this pledge that a Labour government will ensure funding for these vital women's services and will be provided because women's lives matter.
Hey.
We need a new type of Labour Party, and that is being pushed by Jeremy Corbyn. Women's Lives Matter, and I'm so proud that we made the first banner for Jeremy Corbyn when he was being elected for, he was trying to get elected for leadership. We are behind the Corbyn agenda. We will be behind any Corbyn councillor, any Corbyn MP that stands up against austerity and fights for women.
Yes.
I'm going to pass over to Amy. She wants to say one more thing, but then basically, thanks to the trade union movement. Thank you to everybody who supported us. We haven't won yet. We are not going quiet. Domestic violence workers cannot go quiet. That is akin to abuse. Abused women have to go quiet. Domestic violence workers are being gagged all over the country. This cannot continue. The Tories and their policies around charity means they want to gag charities. This cannot continue. Just like the trade union laws, the Tory anti-trade union laws have to be broken, so does the gagging orders that are put on women who are trying to prop up vulnerable people in our society. Thanks to John Burgess, a trade unionist in Barton. Thank you to all the trade unionists who understand that and who have stood by us, and that will see us to victory.
But as a lad growing up in this area in Doncaster, it was expected you'd go down pit. There was a job there for you and you were expected you'd go down pit. If you weren't clever enough like me, you went on railway. Now we see desperation throughout society because there isn't jobs. If there is jobs, it's the gig economy where people are on 0 hours contracts. That creates problems. It creates problems in families. It creates tension. And it's not surprising that through austerity, the need for women's aid has gone up because they have suffered more than anybody else, because they're having to balance the books at home as well as dealing with the stress that everybody else is coming under. And you know, a couple of weeks ago I went to a funeral of Lois Hubbard. Again, as long as I've been involved in the movement, Lois has been there. We may not have always agreed on stuff, but she was always part of the movement. I was so proud, and she was so committed and supported to women's aid. And another thing close to my heart, the South Yorkshire Freedom Riders. So she will be sorely missed. Now, one of the things I often say, I usually have to say it everywhere I go about how I hated Thatcher so much. I set my alarm clock an hour early just so I could hate her for an hour longer. But there's been a development in this, because when the All Green Truth and Justice campaign went to make some noise at the Home Office last year, one of our ASLEF members from Bletchley came. He said, Tosh, I was watching live at the Apollo the other night and this young Asian comedian come on. And he said it was terrible growing up in the 80s and his dad hated Thatcher that much that he used to set his alarm clock an hour early just so he could hate it for an hour long. I just want to make it clear, I'm not that young Asian comedian's dad. No claims for back pay on pocket money or anything like that. But I suppose it's one of the most sincere forms of flattery, isn't it? Absolutely. Now, you know, you've just seen East Coast Railways that run through Doncaster. The government have just bailed out Stagecoach. They call them Virgin because of the fluffy Richard Branson image. Virgin has 10% of it. 90% is owned by Brian Souter and Stagecoach, the man who helps fund the SNP, the Nationalist Party. £2 billion they've just bailed them out for by cutting the franchise short. Just think what £2 billion could do for women's aid centres, not just in Doncaster, right along the length of that East Coast main line. And that's where the problem comes. It's not from the Labour Party, it's from austerity. Austerity pushed by the Tories and was pushed by the Blairites as well. Before we got Corbyn. We have a real Labour Party now, one that I'm proud to be part of. And we have in here some good councillors. I have to say this because one of them's Nicky. We're in there and they're fighting for us. They're fighting for proper policies. I know I've seen people here who's from Don Valley CLP, where their AGM was almost a stand-up fight. Because the right are fighting, they're clinging on to what they've got. They don't want to get it taken away from them. They don't want us to take over the party that was given birth to by the trade unions, who look after working people. Now, I've got a story about domestic abuse as well. Two stories, in fact. The first one is that we in ASLEF, we have 97% member density of train drivers. 97% of all train drivers and tram drivers in Britain, because we only organise people who drive steel wheels on steel rail, belong to ASLEF. Only 6% of those are women. Now that is shameful. Absolutely shameful. In a place like here, in Northern Rail, one of the biggest franchises in the country, takes in conurbations like Bradford, like Rochdale, places where there are big Asian communities. We have in Northern Rail about half a dozen Asian train drivers. Society is wrong, and when these privateers who are making the money out of taxpayers don't even do it fairly, there's something wrong. So we saw there was something wrong with that, and 18 years ago we organised some representative committees, a women's representative committee, a BME representative committee, LGBT representatives committee, and a retired members section who report to executive committee twice a year. They come to us. And you know, this year at our conference they started something because they saw society's wrong and it doesn't treat people right. And we're an industrial union, we use a lot of industrial language. We're maybe not the most politically correct union. When you sit in one of our mess rooms and listen to people talking, it's not what we would all like society to be like. But rather than weaponise it against us like the right of the Labour Party is trying to do now and get everybody done for bullying if they've used a swear word, what we do is set these up, and we set something up this year in Bristol at our annual conference called Mind the Gag. And it's a play on what you hear on a train all the time, mind the gap. And that's all the representative committees together, going out into mess rooms. And these jokes that you hear, all these things that I said that, oh, it's only a bit of banter, pointing out where that's wrong and where it can hurt. Because we understand the real way we're going to change it is to go right down to the roots and change it that way. And I'm proud. Second story, a little bit about my past. Now, there has been some stuff about my past put in press and stuff, but actually good members of the National Union of Journalists did that to try and redress some of the negative stuff that was coming. And both these journalists worked for right-wing papers. There was an article put in Sunday Times magazine and another one put in Yorkshire Post. Not the kind of newspapers you'd expect, but good union members got the opportunity to redress the balance. And I talk about my grandfather and stuff. I found my dad dead when I was 3, my mum had left. My dad died when I was 11, my mum had left when I was 3. My mum I only found out much later in life when I was trying to find her. Eventually the Salvation Army found her. It was 6 months after she'd died. When she left, it was probably postnatal depression. She left, had nowhere to go.
So this is from, it says, to Louise and Amy, at our December committee meeting, a letter from South Yorkshire Women's Aid was read out. The letter was about the cuts to your funding from Doncaster Council. The branch committee agreed to support South Yorkshire Women's Aid financially by donating £700. We hope this money will allow you to continue to function until another funding becomes available, and I'm going to put in and when Corbyn's elected. If we can help in the future, please do not hesitate to contact us again. There's one thing that all trade unionists need to know. We're working way above the hours that we paid. Our trustees are all trade unionists, all look after us. However, there is a pledge that myself and Amy has made, and that is to every union that donates to us, we will come to your union and give you free training that would, you know, around domestic violence for your reps, for your members. We'll do it as many times as you need. Yeah, okay.
Miners holding the country to ransom. I was 14. I thought about you. You worked underground, often in danger. You the coal we depended upon. He earned more checking tax forms in Brighton. I knew then just whose side I was on. I remember Kent Pickett's at Shoreham when our port bosses shipped in scab coal. By the time they were back 12 years later, a new anger burned deep in my soul. You'd won once, but this time will be harder. For your foe was no bumbling Heath, it was Thatcher. Revenge her agenda, a class warrior, armed to the teeth. You were miners on strike for your future, for your pits, your communities, ways. We were punks, poets, anarchists, lesbians, theatre groups, Rastafarians, gays, different worlds in a rainbow alliance, fired up and determined to win. And Thatcher loved us all together, punk or miner, the enemy within. As a poet, I crisscrossed the country, from Durham to Yorkshire to Kent, doing benefits, arguing, learning, raising funds that were so quickly spent, playing a tiny little role in that battle which you fought so hard and to the last. A battle so proudly remembered now that 30 long years have gone past. I remember those pictures from Orgreave, police faces contorted with hate, the communities brutalised, battered by the raw, naked power of the state. If it took guns and tanks to defeat you, she'd have used guns and tanks on you too. The veneer of democracy shattered, the hired thugs of the privileged few. After Orgreave came Wapping, then Hillsborough. With the press and police on her side, Thatcher smiled as the printers were beaten and those 96 football fans died. She had a quite brazen agenda, summed up perfectly well when she said that there's no such thing as a society. Don't blame us for being glad that she's dead. Now the bankers destroy the economy, and the poor and the sick get the blame. And our once proud and strong labour movement is shackled and timid and tame. But this poet will always remember the brave men and women I met. We will carry on fighting for justice, and we'll never, no never, forget. And of course, recall how in this place there was horror and fear. Some people I know simply don't want to go. I'll be there. It's a strange atmosphere. When we're Hillsborough bound, the same thought comes around, one that caused this short verse to be penned. The best antidote to that old Shankly quote is to stand in the Lappings Lane end. We all have our dreams and our hopes for our teams, and we sing till we die in our youth. Those folks sang, then they died. The police and press lied. It took 27 years to the truth. So if, as they may, Wednesday beat us today, to this comforting thought I'll hold fast. We'll walk out of that ground and get home safe and sound. For the 96, justice at last. Thanks. Just look at us! We're the scourge of the land. We're Jeremy Corbyn's favourite band. We all eat babies and we're commies too. And we've all got AIDS and we'll give it to you with scaly tails and horns and hooves. We undermine everything that moves. You can read about us in the right-wing press, the Sun, the Mail and the Express. But don't mess with us, because we're lefties and we smell. We're the Corbyn supporters from hell! If your telly goes wrong or your car won't start, you can bet your life we've played our part. Your team doesn't win or you miss the bus, 10 to 1, it's all down to us. If a dog runs off with your copy of The Sun and brings it back with a crossword done. If your pet hamster wakes up dead or you find a squatter in your bed, we did it! And everything else as well, because we're Corbyn supporters from hell. We made your pub serve proper beer. We banned those broadcasts of Top Gear. We're all pacifists, Muslims, gay, and members of the IRA. We bring in asylum seekers and make you pay for their new sneakers. Yeah. We won't sing songs for the Queen. We think X Factor is obscene. But don't mess with us, because we're lefties and we smell. We're the Corbyn supporters from hell. Okay, when I was 48 years old, I wrote this poem, and I thought at the time, my tempting fate a bit, I'm writing a poem that finishes when I'm 60. A couple of years ago, I thought, okay, I shouldn't have written that poem, but you'll hear about that in a minute. This is the poem. I performed this. Oh, I've performed it many, many times over the many hundreds of times. I've done about 3,500 gigs. But I was 60 on October the 21st. This year, just a few months, oh, thank you. I didn't say we say that. So this is about being a punk rock poet I earn my living all my life doing what I love. I know what an honour and a privilege that is. I work fucking hard, and I'm not like famous or anything, but I've always managed to earn my living doing what I love, because I know most people don't get that chance. And I've tried all the way through my life as well to support the causes and the people that I believe in, and to quite literally to put not my money, but my mouth and my Doc Martens when necessary, where my mouth is, you know. And so this is about that really. It's called Spirit of the Age. You've got to be young and black to rap, right? So I've no chance because I'm old, punk rock and white. You've got to be young and black to rap. Wrong. Anyone can rap. I'll write a punk rock song. So don't look at me with scorn or derision. I don't accept boundaries of cultural division. I'm MC Atilla and I'm right in your face. So listen up, folks, because I ain't going no place. This rap's called Spirit of the Age. All my life, I'm going to be on stage, millions of ideas buzzing around my head, and I'll be rapping to the day I'm dead. Age 48, I wasn't sedate. Rancid rule. Joe Strummer is my soulmate. 49, I was doing just fine. Reading in the right on my verbal fishing line. 50, I was nifty. So don't look at me like I'm sad or I'm shifty. 51, I'd have had some fun if Brighton scored 10 and Crystal Palace scored none. 52, I was talking to you and I make more sense than Blink 182. 53, top of the tree. Red rebel rhymes and rapping rebel poetry. 54, like I said before, show me a fascist, I'll show him the floor. 55, still cutting it live. While boring arty poets took a nosedive. 56, I was high in the mix. This whole punk rocker, I learned some new tricks. 57, still first 11. Drinking real ale like it's manna from heaven. 58, I was fueling debate, giving it straight from the 51st state. 59, laying down the line, pulling out words and watching them intertwine. 60, still demanding attention. I won't be drawing my punk rock pension. As long as I'm alive, I'll be live on stage. Age of the Spirit, Spirit of the Age. Cheers. I've been doing a lot of support gigs recently. I did 2 in Manchester a couple of weeks ago. One for the Mustard Tree Trust, Homeless Trust, and because obviously when I'm doing these sort of gigs, I don't have to spend out money for hotels, so all the money to go to the course. The guy who put me up, young guy, had a boa constrictor, right? Now I love snakes. I have 2 pet corn snakes. I love snakes. He's got a 9-foot boa constrictor. Obviously, we get the boa. I say I want to cuddle the boa constrictor. The boa constrictor broke my glasses. I mean, that is actually like a half man, half biscuit song lyric. But anyway, I digress. This is called In Training. I've always loved cycling, but never as much as today. 40 miles to the Sussex countryside on a beautiful spring afternoon. In training, testing myself like a boxer preparing his body for the fight. Fitness helps post-surgical healing, they told me, and alcohol hinders it. So I've given up beer until after the operation. In our criminally overstretched and underfunded NHS with so many people in need, this red rocker doesn't want to be a bed blocker even for one day. So no, after the biopsy, it's the weight for not knowing that's the worst. Like back in the old days of the 80s, when we knew the fascists were going to attack the gig, but we didn't know whether there would be a pathetic gaggle of scrawny 18-year-olds high on glue, one with "Oi" tattooed on his forehead the wrong way round, because he'd done a DIY job in the mirror. There honestly was. Or a big gang of the really hard bastards, all DMs, tattoos and Nazi salutes. During the day it's okay, more or less. I have a full life, can mostly put things to the back of my mind, but at night I wake to that same recurring dark thought and sheer human fear takes hold. Then your warm arms embrace me, your soft breasts enclose me, your lips meet mine, we hold each other tight, you push against my leg and I'm whole again. It's a wonder and an honour to be this loved, especially given my regular deficiencies and matters of etiquette, self-effacement, you name it, and I return it with all the strength of my being. I love you so much, and how hard it is for you too. Thank you for being there. My heart goes out to those who have to face such things on their own, and my deepest respect to the people whose profession is to help them to do so. Like all those at the core of a wonderful NHS, they are the ones to be celebrated, the real celebrities, not some fuckwits in a fucking jungle in Australia. We need your votes and your campaigning. Victory to the junior doctors, victory to Jeremy Corbyn. Long live the NHS. I've always loved cycling, but never as much as today. 40 miles to the Sussex countryside on a beautiful spring afternoon. In training, testing myself like a boxer, preparing his body for the fight. Blood coursing, legs pumping, muscles flexing, thoughts racing, bursting with life. Cheers. Sorry if you haven't got a PA. Go outside. There's no PA in here, so please, if you want to talk, go outside. Okay. I know that I can sometimes be a loudmouth, stroppy prat. I know I'm a control freak, and a bossy one at that. My wife says when I'm eating, I am a total slob. I'm still not sure that I deserved a camera.
I bet she did.
Up my knob. The poor thing shriveled up in fear till it was hardly there. A tiny little pimple in a nest of pubic hair. The camera made its entrance, the pain cut like a knife, and then I saw my bladder for the first time in my life. I'm glad that it went up there, though sad at what it found, but it can come back any time to help me stay around. So 3 cheers for the NHS and for that camera crew. And if you're feeling odd down there, you get it checked out too. Thanks. Right, the next one, I'm going to do this one. Now, this is about Brexit. Now, I started off exit left, but the xenophobia just got to me, and I ended up voting Remain. It's very complicated, very, very complicated. I don't like multinational capitalism, the way that it ships things around the world to the cheapest, option. And equally, I don't like xenophobia and shit and people blaming foreigners for before the borders got opened, and not looking forward to the possibility of it happening again. It's called Rock and Roll Brexit. I've just toured with my band Barnstormer from Dunkirk to Lucerne and back through France, Belgium, Germany and Switzerland without showing a passport once. Yes, non-EU Switzerland too, a little bridge, an empty hut. In my punk rock youth, I remember how musicians had to carry carnets for our instruments when we crossed the channel. Everything down to the last spare string, painstakingly listed on a pointless green form, checked and stamped at every border after standing with the truckers in endless queues. I remember the invasive French customs, whose cretinously predictable searches for non-existent drugs took the edge off many an otherwise enjoyable tour. Search the big posh cars driven by the suits, I'd always say, after these unimaginative custodians have finished their fruitless checks. No one imports half a ton of heroin dressed like we are. Driving a scruffy transit van with "Clean Me" written in the dirt on one side, "We hate Crystal Palace" on the other, a large knob and testicles adorning the back, and empty beer bottles rolling around on the floor. We're going to have to go through all this again just because Rupert Murdoch was pissed off by the fact that no one in Brussels took a blind bit of notice of him. Lord give me strength. Only joking, of course. Brexit was an informed decision taken by the British people after serious consideration of the established facts presented intelligently and objectively by the rigorous guardians of the Fourth Estate. And anyone who suggests anything else is patronising and supercilious. So in a few years' time, a British number plate for a band touring Europe becomes the signal, the equivalent of a plague signal on a door in medieval times. And I am once again obliged to fill in ridiculous forms that perhaps even at my advanced age stand naked in a room with a gloved finger up my arse. As I once stood in Calais in the 1980s, I shall hold myself proudly to attention and celebrate the fact that I am British and we have taken back control. Thank you. And that isn't really going on one side or the other. It's just, it's one of the few things where I'm not